We've had a rousing debate around this table for a long time about what to do about net neutrality. And we've had a number of CEOs come on who traditionally own pipes for the most part, who say, you know what, these rules, which I think they go farther than what they even expected originally, the Title II stuff, ultimately are going to really just slow down the internet. It's going to slow down innovation. Do you believe that?
I really don't. So I think the way that we see the most innovation is by sort of separating the layers of the stack. So making sure that there's a competitive market for carriers where they're competing to deliver us the fastest, best internet that we can get access to with modern technology. And then on top of that, you have a free, open marketplace of services that can count on a neutral internet to build
their point, though, is if you talk to someone like AT&T, Randall Stephenson, he will say right now they have more capital expenditures than any company in America. They have invested heavily to build their network, and that if you turn it into a utility, it will not be profitable to continue investing like that, and that as a result, things will slow down.
It's just not true. It's just been disproven, and it's
been
proven too by the tech end of it too, that there's a tremendous amount of artificial throttling going on right now. They have the bandwidth to deliver this, and if we could move further in breaking down the near monopoly situation that we have right now, we would hopefully see even more competition.
You have a monopoly because it's really expensive to build the pipes, and so you have not had multiple people who will build pipes to the door.
I confess, not my area of expertise.
But in general, the industry has had kind of a light touch. In terms of the government had a light touch in terms of regulation. Would you say that that's been beneficial in the past, that there's been a light touch? Or in general, do you think heavy-handed government regulation is a good thing or a bad thing for an industry?
I think a bright line rule that spells out these sort of foundational principles that we believe in. I think the Bill of Rights is a good thing. Even without getting into the weeds, spelling out something like the First Amendment that just says this is a truth that we believe. And
so let me ask you a question. I don't
see how that's an answer at all. Comparing this to the Bill of, I understand the Bill of Rights, but
so we have.
Has there been a problem up to this point where you feel that that net neutrality has been violated and people have been harmed?
There has. So we've had instances of Comcast, for example, trying to actually block whole protocols and shut off consumers' access to new innovative parts of the internet. So when that happens, in fact, when that happened recently, when that happened in 2010, the FCC stepped in to try and intervene. We've had weak laws, things like the Telco Act, that generally these carriers have kind of been following. They broke it down in the courts last year, where the courts flat out said, like, look, this bad behavior under the current laws isn't illegal unless we're treating the ISPs as a Title II carrier.
If Randall Stephenson has said point blank, I'm not going to build out certain things that I was going to build out. I'm going to finish the stuff for DirecTV, but then I'm going to Mexico. If he said, how has that been disproven? How can you tell him he's been disproven that he's actually not going to do that? I mean, that's just the word you use. You said, no, it's just been disproven that they won't build it out.
The CEO of AT&T, he's come on this network and elsewhere and said, I'm not going to invest the same amount of money I was before.
There's a huge number of consumers who are already paying out the nose for access to the internet.
No, but how has it been disproven that he's not going to actually pull in on his build out of more infrastructure?
Because the consumers are demanding faster internet.
So he actually is going to spend money building it out.
And
he's just lying. Okay.
They are. They have been.
Right. Well, he's saying now he's not going to add any additional.
Let me ask you
incremental.
Let me ask you
because he's putting pressure on.
So he's putting
pressure on politicians and trying to make a case for getting to own the complete stack. So
if he can't recoup, he's going to do it anyway. If he can't recoup his investment, he's going to do it anyway.
Absolutely. Look, there's demand for faster internet.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that someone will pay for it if they're losing money as a result. I mean,
somebody else is going to come along and figure out how to deliver.
I thought it was a monopoly.
I confess, I don't entirely understand the circumstances of that monopoly, at least in a city like New York, where we generally
I've been an advocate of net neutrality. However, I've become a little more nervous once I realized that we were talking about going back to a Title II world. Because that, to me, meant that there was going to be sort of an extra level of regulation that I hadn't really pondered. And by the way, I don't think most people in the industry had. We've had people like Barry Diller who have come on this show and actually been strong advocates for net neutrality, and yet when it comes to the Title II, they get a little bit more nervous. Does that make you...
A little bit more nervous? He was totally against Title II when he came out. He said he wanted it to be tied up in the courts for years so that it stays as it is right now.
Does the Title II thing change the dynamic for you? Or, I mean, when you talk about net neutrality, is Title II and net neutrality one and the same to you, or do you separate them? And that's,
I do.
I guess, an issue.
So I get the kind of just wanting to stay, wanting to preserve what we have right now. We've started to move in a bad direction. So this was... the internet was established, and has generally grown to a good place. In the last few years, the carriers have kind of tried to take it off the rails. They've tried to do the prioritization. They've tried to do the blocking.
But I don't even know that that's true. Where have they been throttling? Where has that been happening?
Comcast blocking BitTorrent traffic completely in 2010.
If you look at Netflix traffic, though, sometimes it is 80% of a network's nighttime load.
And consumers are paying for it, and Netflix, by the way, is already paying for the transit.
By the way, I'm not a Netflix user. It ticks me off that I have to subsidize everybody who is doing that. Why do I have to pay for that?
So look, in the new world, so here's what's going to happen. Netflix can thrive, Tumblr can thrive, but we're going to do it with deals that we establish with these carriers. So what that means is the carriers are going to bless a handful of partners that either they founded or are cutting them in on the economics of it. And the opportunity for the next emerging innovative platform, the next Tumblr, the next Netflix that has a promise for consumers isn't going to get that blessing from Comcast.
Comcast, I know, has already said that it wouldn't do that. It has already gone before Washington and said it won't do any of those things.
They've said that. They've done it. They've started to do it.
Where? I don't even know what you're talking about.
They've blocked whole protocols. They've blocked whole.
There are examples. If you go back in 2010, there's a number of examples, both for Comcast, AT&T, but a number of the telecom providers have throttled traffic. That's not sort of in dispute.
Getting emails from people that they haven't. There's not been a tremendous amount of throttle.
But there have been people who have made that allegation. Level 3 has made that allegation, and others. Yeah. Just last question on it's actually a Yahoo question,
sure.
Which is now that you're part of Yahoo, you've been now part of Yahoo for what, 2.5 years?
Mm-hmm.
We're
about 2 years in.
One of the things that Marissa Mayer said was that she was going to keep her hands off the company. Mm-hmm. Kara Swisher wrote an article in late January suggesting that the advertising side might get merged.
It is getting merged.
It is getting merged. Does that worry you at all?
It does, and actually, so this is a really exciting moment for the company. So we've been hard at work building the business the last 2 years, our advertising business. Scaled our sales team to nearly 100 people. All running this all out of our organization, our office here in New York. It's gotten to a point where we've kind of established those ad products in the marketplace, and we're ready to take those out there with Yahoo and sell those products, those networks together. So it's an opportunity for us to hopefully do more bigger business and offer more bigger platforms to those marketers and brands.
Hey YouTube fans, I'm Landon Dowdy from CNBC. Thank you so much for checking out our channel. You can subscribe by clicking right here to check out the latest Mad Money CEO interviews, market news, financial advice, and product unboxing. Enjoy!